I'm going to walk you through the circle exploration that's on the last page of the notes for section 1.1 about graphing equations. So we are told in these notes that the basic equation for a circle with the center at the origin is x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the radius. So r is the radius, and here the center is the origin, which is 0, 0. So using this equation, we're asked to write the equation of a circle with a radius of 5 centered at the origin. So if the radius is 5, we'd get the equation x squared plus y squared equals 5 squared. And that would be x squared plus y squared equals 25. So that's the equation of a circle with radius 5 centered at the origin. Number 2 here asks us to graph this circle on our calculator and then make a sketch, clearly denoting the x and y intercepts as ordered pairs on the sketch. So we're going to put a coordinate plane there. And now I'm going to share my screen to show you how we can enter this into our graphing calculator. So now we're looking at the calculator. I'm going to add a graphs page. And here, normally we're entering functions. So we can see that the entry line says f1 of x. But we want to change that so we can enter a circle in this equation where the center and radius are clearly denoted. So I'm going to hit menu, and then I'm going to hit graph entry edit. And you can see normally we're at one function, but I'm going to go to 3 equation templates. And we can see here, this is actually an ellipse, but things like circles and ellipses are in this menu. And then I'm going to choose circle. And then within circle, we have 2 options. And right now we're going to do center form, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. I'm going to explain what h and k are later. R is the radius. So we're going to paste that in. And now, since we want to circle, we want the equation x squared plus y squared equals 25, or 5 squared. I'm going to enter 0 in that x minus something squared, so that'll be 0, y minus 0 squared. And then I'm going to put 5 here, that's the radius. You don't want to type 25 because the template is already squaring the radius. And then I'm going to hit enter, and you'll see we get this nice circle. And then where are the x and y intercepts? Because we're going to go back to the notes and graph those. So if I count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the x intercepts are at plus or minus 5, 0, and the y intercepts are at plus or minus 5, 0 as well. So I'm going to go back to the notes page, and we'll take a look at that, and we'll fill that in. Okay, so we're back at the notes, and I drew the coordinate plane before we went to the calculator. So I'm going to sketch our circle. And remember, we entered x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to 5 squared. That's what we entered in the calculator. And when we did that, we got a nice circle, and the x-intercepts were -5 and 5, 0, and the y-intercepts were -5, 0, and 5, 0. And going forward, when we sketch circles, we're going to want to show not necessarily the x and y intercepts, but points on the diameter that passes through the center. So the center is at 0, 0. So I'll plot that too. Okay, now we're going to go back to the calculator, and on a new graphs page, we want to graph a new circle, which is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16. And when we enter that, right, we're going to enter x minus 3 squared plus, if I want it to be y plus 1 squared, it's going to be y minus, because the formula is always minus the value. So I'm going to put y minus -1 squared. And for 16, that's going to be 4 squared. So let's go to a calculator page, and we'll go ahead and put this in. Okay, so I'm sharing the calculator. I'm going to get a new page, so I'm going to go Control Doc, which adds a page, and I'm going to add a graphs page. Once again, I'm going to have to change my menu the entry line. So I'm going through the same steps that we did before to get a circle and center form. And now we want to put in x minus 3 squared, y minus negative 1 squared, because that'll give me plus 1, equals 4 squared. The radius here should be 4. But let's see what happens when we enter this. So what happened here is our circle is no longer centered at the origin. And where is the center? The center is shown right here in our graph, and that appears to be at 1, 2, 3, negative 1. And then if we want to know the points that actually go through the diameter through the center that are vertical and horizontal, I'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is, the radius is 4. So this point is 1, 3. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go back to the notes so that we can sketch our circle. So bear with me for a second while I go back to the iPad. Okay, and we're connected again. So now we're going to sketch the graph that we just found, and the center here was at 3, negative 1. So I'm going to write that down. Center was at 3, negative 1, and the radius is 4. And we know that from our equation, right? This is r squared. So I'm going to plot the center is at 3, negative 1. And then the radius is 4. So that means we move up 4 and down 4, left 4 and right 4 from the center. So if I count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, this point up here is going to be 3, 3. I'm going to count down 4, 2, 3, 4. That point's going to be 3, negative 5. I'm going to count right 4. So I was at 3. So I have to go to 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 7, negative 1, and left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this point is at a negative 1, negative 1. And then we can sketch the circle going through these points. And don't worry if your circle doesn't look perfect. If you put on those 4 points in the center, you will be in good shape. Okay, so now we're going to think a little bit about what the terms in the parentheses do to the basic equation for a circle. So what happened? Originally, we just had x squared plus y squared equals r squared. That was a circle that was centered at the origin. So what happened when we have this minus 3 or minus negative 1, the center was shifted. Okay, so the terms in parentheses shift the center. So in fact, when we have the equation, which is up here at the top, which I'm going to actually highlight now. So this is our equation for a circle. The h and k give us the center of the circle. So h comma k is the center and r is the radius. And you are going to want to know the equation for a circle. Okay, so let's use this equation. So we want to write an equation of a circle with a radius of 3 and a center at negative 4, negative 2. So typically when I start these problems, I'll start with the general equation. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And I know the center is negative 4, 2, which is hk. So h is negative 4 and k is 2 and r is 3. So we'll substitute those values in. So we get x minus negative 4 squared plus y minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 3 squared. And then simplifying, we'll get x plus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 9. And so that's the equation of a circle with center negative 4, 2 and a radius of 3. So this is the standard equation for a circle. So this is something that you are definitely going to want to know. And notice the similarity between an equation of a circle with center hk and radius r and the distance formula squared. right? X2 minus X1 squared plus Y2 minus Y1 squared equals D squared. This is because a circle is the set of all points, X comma Y, whose distance from a fixed point, which we call the center, HK, is equal to R. Okay, so now we're going to do example 8. So we want to state the center and radius for the following circle. X minus 7 squared plus Y plus 2 squared equals 4. So if we have X minus 7 squared plus Y plus 2 squared equal 4, that means that H is 7 and K is negative 2, right? Because it would be Y minus negative 2. So we would have the center is going to be 7, negative 2, and 4 is equal to R squared. So R is equal to 2. We are not concerned about the negative value here because a negative radius doesn't make sense. And now we're going to go ahead and plot our circle. So I'm going to do 1 square is 1 unit. You should always put a scale on your graph so you know what it is. And I'm going to plot the center. So 5, 6, 7, negative 2. And then when you're plotting circles, I want you to include at least 4 points on the circle. The easiest for 4 points would be to move up, down, left, and right, the distance of the radius from the center. So I'm going to move up 2, down 2 from the center, left 2, and right 2 from the center. And then I'm going to connect these, and that is our circle. You can see the answers from the exploration are included in the notes.